Okay, everybody, it's the Real Martian here. It has been a very, very long time since I've done one of these live streams, and hopefully, we got all the technical bugs worked out of my memory here. I've got multiple monitors, so if you see me look away from you, it's because I'm checking to make sure the Go Live button, which says it's gone live, is actually live over there. And then I got the monitor here in front of me where we're going to be sharing some updates with you all today. And just really grateful for those of you who have taken the time out of your busy schedules to be here during the middle of the day. I was trying to get it where the East Coast folks and some of the folks weren't staying up too late and seemed like a good time to put this up for everybody. So thanks again for those that are joining us live. Be sure to join me in the chat today. I see we already got some of you folks lined up here, so thanks for coming. But please do shoot me questions as we go. And let me know, what you're thinking. That's what we're here to do. I had somebody on Twitter, actually. I'm not very active on social media, I have to admit it, but I saw, they're like, how come you haven't been posting videos as The Real Martian lately? And it's because I've been really, really super duper busy. So I am going to be giving you guys an update today of what I've been up to, why I've been so busy, what's happening. I'm going to try to remember how to use the studio system here and make sure that everything looks great for you and sounds great. So I guess if I could just get somebody in the chat to let me know if you can hear me, that would be great, and if the sound is okay. Again, it's been a long time since I've had one of these live streams up and running, but I see my mom's here. Hi, Mom. Love you. Thanks for coming. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. My goal today, actually, let me step back. We are getting ready for our first major crowd fund at Eden, which is the company that I work for. And so what I wanted to do is be able to share with all you guys, what the Real Martian, what I've been up to, my role in all that, and what have we been working on since we got started, and to help tell the story, tell our story, and to maybe encourage people to go out and help us with our crowdfunding. Now, crowdfunding, it's a tough world that we're in. So I have three things that I ask of people: either pray for us, share, or pledge. Right, and two of those things are super easy to do, and they're extremely powerful. Obviously, praying for us and everything that we're working on, and I'm going to share with you guys a lot today. So grab a good drink here and be ready to settle down and hear all the updates. And then I'm gonna so praying for us just to make sure that we're on the right spot, that we have energy, that God continues to bless us, because He has. You're going to see that, or share. I've been trying to post on LinkedIn, on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm not very good at any of those as far as being on social media goes, but I'm trying to post there and let people know what they can do to help us in this pray, share, or pledge kind of approach. So today what I want to do is go over everything we've been doing. I left my full-time job. It's been over 4 years now, if you can believe it. And for those that have followed along with The Real Martian for a long time, this has been quite the journey. So today you guys might feel a little bit of pride in following along, because I know that's who we're going to have here is mostly, the really dedicated folks. So I'm going to jump in and tell you about all the stuff that we've gotten done since I've left my full-time job, over 4 years ago. And then I'll leave you with kind of the structure of what I want to do next, which is I'm going to try to do some more live streams as well as some more standalone videos here in the coming weeks. I'm going to try to get back in the saddle, and it's really hard for me to do that because I'm Chief Operations and Technology Officer of Eden, so I kind of have more than a full-time job, you might say. But we're going to try to do some Real Martian stuff here, and so I think that's enough blabbing. Let me go ahead and jump right in. Let's see if we switch the screen here, make sure we know how to do this. I'm seeing that okay. It's looking good on my side. By the way, there is a little bit of a delay here, so if you all ask some questions, please do maybe say like all caps question so I can see it. And then if it seems like I'm going on for a while and I'm not answering your question, that's because there's a delay. I think it's about 30 seconds to a minute, and I am coming to you over Starlink. So if by chance something happens and I just wait a little bit, I'll be back and I'll continue the stream there. So with that, we got the Real Martian 2023. Going to get this going. Here we go. So we're going to jump right in. I'm going to tell you about what I've been doing at Eden, what we've accomplished as a team at Eden, which is no small thing. And this is pretty cool, the stuff that we've been doing. This is meant to be an eye chart, actually, and what it is I tried to find a way to show how the journey with the Real Martian and with Eden, and then when I left my job back in May of 2019 and then started doing stuff, I wanted to try to give a visualization of the amount of things that we've accomplished. We have since, I left, and my business partner Bart, who is amazing, and his family, they have raised together, we have raised over $1.4 million through 2022. And actually, we just are completing our Series A round, and we just passed $1 million as part of that. 1.4 is part of our Series A. And we're actually almost up to about $2 million right now of funds that we've raised. And we've gotten a lot of stuff done with just, a little under $2 million in 2023. Now, these slides I'm going to show you, they go through 2022. And at the end, I give you the 2023 stuff, because if I were to show all the 2023 stuff, you wouldn't even be able to see the screen, man. It'd be so hard. And then this slide is not meant to be read. It's just meant to kind of give an image of how much stuff we're getting done. So let's jump into some of this. I'm not going to read every single one of these pages here, but what you're going to be able to see is with the money that we've done, we had HAB 1, we did a full HAB 2 design, and actually a HAB 2.1 design. We did LifePod 1, we did LifePod 2. We actually, if you all remember where we left off, I was actually cutting and hacking on the LifePod here on the Real Martian channel, and then it got destroyed in snow, right? So when it got destroyed in snow, we pivoted to the grow walls, grow towers, the control system, the software that would go into LifePod, that would go into the HAB, and kind of the way I described it, it's like a V, right? So we start off with a big idea, we got it all figured out and dialed in, and then in the process, God has literally shut doors on us, and we get down here to these very focused things. Big idea up here, very focused down here, and then what we're doing now is we're going back up the other side of the V. We're going to end up where we started, but it's going to be done in a stepping stone approach, which I think is pretty cool. And then we've had not one, not two, but 8 variations on our grow tower, which is now we're going to market with that, and that thing is turning out to be super nice. Let me show you real fast here. This is the newest, whoops, that's not it. Go back. You open up something and then it just doesn't do what you want it to do. There we go. Okay, so this is the newest version of our grow tower. It's version 2.4.2, 2.4.2. And these things are turning out to be really, really nice. I mean, you could say, we say internally, they're sexy. They look the way that we were hoping to get them to look. They have that futuristic feel. They do aquaponics, they do aeroponics, they can grow anything. We've got a whole spectrum of plants. I'll talk about that a little bit more, and definitely in future videos. But we have come a long, long way. And we actually are starting on the next version of our tower. So one of the things that I get a lot is, what is the price of the tower? Let's just deal with the elephant in the room right here, and I'll talk about that right now. It used to be the towers were in the $2,000 range. And if anyone has ever tried to do a startup in the middle of a pandemic during the worst inflation since the 1970s with Chinese war being threatened, let me tell you, and you want to build American? It is really hard to keep prices down. Quite honestly, it is impossible to compete with Chinese parts. We become so addicted to low-cost items that when you see something, I just had a guy here quoting windows for the house, and oh my goodness, quality costs a certain dollar amount. And our product is no different. So we went from 2,000, now we're up to about 3,500 up to 5,000. And the goal is to go back down, right? But when you're trying to build a company with all these constraints, it is really, really, really hard to do. It is impossible to get your prices down really low unless you're willing to use slave labor out of China. And a lot of companies are. But myself personally and Eden corporately, we are completely against slave labor. We do have, and what's happening with the Uyghurs, there's nothing good going on there. We're completely against it, and we are actively moving everything that we possibly can away from China, and we're making good progress on that. But because of that, because of inflation, because of logistics issues, the that thing that we can't talk about on YouTube anymore because you might got shot in the head, is, that has made it really difficult. But we're here and we're fighting. But what we're going to be trying to do with this crowd fund that I spoke about is we're going to be trying to raise enough money to where I can start buying in bulk, right? So I have the power of the purse, if you will, and then I can actually go out there and I can actually start, getting my prices back down. But the only way I can do that is with investment or with continued purchasing to where I can get the money. I mean, I hate money. I mean, I do. It's become a very, very painful part of my life, but we need it. So what we need your help doing is, again, going out. You can either pray, you can share, or you can pledge. And at the end of the video here, I'll give you guys a link to where you can do that. But 8 versions of the tower, and then our control system. If you guys remember when I first started in the Hab, we had Arduinos and these Chinese relays, and then we moved to Raspberry Pis and the Chinese relays, and we actually deployed some of those to customers. And oh my goodness, let me tell you, they are not production quality. So we've actually designed our own control system. We call it ECS, the Eating Control System, and we've gone through not 1, not 2, but 3. Actually, we're on the 4th. There's a little dot, a dash design that we have in there where we've cleaned some stuff up, and now we're working on trying to get those prices down as well. Because let me tell you, buying silicone parts in the middle of all this stuff that's going on is also very, very difficult to do. It's not. Choosing to do a startup in the 21st century is. It's a challenge. It's a challenge, but we're up for the challenge. We've also put in place our entire software infrastructure, right? The servers, cloud-based servers, an app that goes on Android. We built that in-house. We've done quite a bit. Oh, looks like I'm getting. I'm seeing that might be getting some buffering here. So everybody, sorry about that. Again, I'm coming to you on Starlink. Thank you for joining us. I'm giving you guys an update here on the accomplishments that we're doing. So hopefully everything catches up. Looks like we got about 15 of us right now online. So get more people, tell everybody. And thanks for coming here. QA, hey, it's great seeing you, man. You've been here from the beginning. So thank you so much for being here. And yeah, so appreciate it. So back on here, hopefully this buffering continues forward here, or doesn't continue. You guys get caught up. But let's go ahead and move on. So on the business development side, it's one thing to talk about just developing a product, but if you're running a business, then you need BD. And we have done a lot. We've done multiple website iterations, lots of interviews. I think you guys have seen, I've been on Wrangler Star, Adapt 2030, Oppenheimer, Texas Boys, Allison Morrow. Shout out to you all for being such awesome supporters of The Real Martian and what we're doing. Wrangler Star having launched us a long time ago, we constantly talk with Cody and let him know how grateful we are. Had he not launched The Real Martian, we probably wouldn't be here talking to you all right now, because we wouldn't even be able to have enough people on The Real Martian to stream. So very grateful for all that they have done for us. Blog, all of our social media accounts. We have a former NASA scientist working with us. We've gone to multiple conferences. We've done SBIRs, putting those all in. We've actually won an Air Force contract for $50,000, and then we were selected. We were it was awarded, but not yet funded. A $1.2 million contract with the Space Force, which I'm totally jazzed about. The Guardians. For those that don't know, I was in the Air Force. And I was on the space side of the Air Force, and when I was in there, they were talking about creating a Space Force. So regardless of your political leanings, it's kind of cool for me to see that come to fruition, but it'd be great. They actually have an island, Ascension Island, which is in the far east of the Atlantic, and that is where they watch all the rockets and everything that are launched up out of the Cape. And they actually have a greenhouse out there, and we're competing with them, and we think we can do better than what we do what they have right now. So I see we got some comments here. Let me pause right now. So QA, the 2,000 for what you get. Yeah, it was back then on that pricing. Just looking at the comments here, everybody. And but again, now the pricing is up to $3,500 up to $5,000 roughly, based on the whatever type of tower you have. Are the grow towers space rated yet? Not yet, actually. We were actually, so we still need gravity for everything to work correctly. Here we use aeroponics, which is a step in the right direction, and we've actually been experimenting with fog ponics, which is not on this list, but we've been playing around with that, and that would actually allow us to do some space-based stuff. So it's cool seeing those things kind of be built upon. There's a lot of the YouTubers out there, if you want to go do this stuff on your own, there's so many different things that people try. And one of the things we tell people when we're selling them the towers is like, well, yeah, you can build this yourself, but just let you know, the components alone are going to cost you like $2,000, a little bit more than that nowadays. And you could do it cheaper, but you're going to end up spending a lot of money figuring out that you actually should buy the parts that we're buying right now. There's something to be said for R&D, and that's, learning what not to do. So appreciate the comments and questions there, QA. And for everybody else, yeah, please do submit your questions. I say we got about 16 folks right now. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, get notified. You guys know the deal. It's like the new thing. I heard a story once, actually. Someone was saying the kids nowadays, how do they know if they like you? Well, or how do you know that social media has a major impact on kids? Because at the end of every conversation, they say, be sure to like, give a thumbs up, and ring the bell to get notified. And isn't that the truth? There's a little too much social media going on right now. And the next question I see is, have you had any papers published in Natural or anything like that? No, we have not gone for that. We've done some press releases on our own, but we haven't done any papers. I've done some white papers on our blog, and I've written a few white papers. I think I released one on LinkedIn, but I haven't gone after doing the publishing thing. So BD, we've had a lot of stuff going on there. Let's click on down here. Organic operations, for those that want to just look right in the middle of the slide and see, because I get this question all the time. Might as well just deal with it right up front. Is are you doing this just to grow weed and get everybody high? And the answer is hell no, we're not doing it just to get everybody high or grow weed. But I'll tell you a quick story. We are definitely doing this to feed people, and what more importantly, our mission is food independence, right? We want people to have food independence. And I'll tell you a quick story on the cannabis side is we actually got connected with a geneticist out of Seattle, and he helped educate me a lot. He had like 3 or 2 postdocs, PhD, masters, all that. The guy had the credentials, right? This is not your Jerry Garcia, loving kind of Cheech and Chong kind of guy that everybody thinks of with cannabis. And he taught me a lot about cannabis, and specifically what are called cannabinoids. Now, I always say that wrong, so don't shoot me if I get that wrong. But basically, inside of cannabis, there are 28 and counting cannabinoids. And, 2 of them we know. THC, which is what gets people high. And then the other one is CBD, which is what helps with arthritis and pain, right? Well, the other ones, they don't really know what's going on. And the reason they don't is because it's been labeled as a Schedule 1 drug, which means you can't actually do any research on it. Now, the interesting thing, let me connect a few dots for you. I don't really trust the pharmacy companies these days because of what's happened in the last few years. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink. Those same companies are the ones that help put cannabis on the Schedule 1. In fact, it was back, it used to be that everybody grew cannabis after the War of Independence. And then what happened is there was this guy who owned a newspaper. I don't know all the names, but he also owned the paper pulp mill and the logging company that went with that. And what was happening is they discovered that hemp, which is the non-THC active version of cannabis, is actually cheaper to make paper out of. So he's like, whoa, we can't have people doing all this. So what he did is he started a campaign where he was extremely racist by definition, not today's definition, but by actual definition. He chose a race. He made up a bunch of stories. He made them evil. He's like, all this cannabis coming out of Mexico makes people mad and crazy. And he actually did a propaganda campaign using his newspaper, and he convinced everybody that cannabis was evil. Not only did he convince them it was evil, but he convinced the American Medical Association, the same ones that say it's okay to do this to certain parts of your anatomy if you're underage, which to me seems hugely wrong. That same organization said it's bad if you have natural solutions, natural remedies, and cannabis was a major one. Well, fast forward to today, and what my wife and I have been studying is that in cannabis, when you actually take the plant as a whole and you don't smoke it, you don't do any of those things, but you actually, there's a process technique that allows you to get all of those cannabinoids into a single dose. I forget the nurse's name, but it was out of California, the good side of California. And what they had is a bunch of kids who were like, they were going through chemotherapy. They're on their last leg. I mean, this is like heartbreaking kind of stuff, right? No kid should have to go through chemo. Well, chemo wasn't working. They were dying. And so they went, and this nurse, under the radar, her story is, I think Ricky Lake picked it up and kind of put it out there in the public, and they've been fighting the fight. They found out that one of these cannabinoids, they don't know which one, actually creates the cells, the cancer cells commit suicide. Now, that's not smoking it, that's not doing a bong hit or any of those things. It's actually the medicine that's in it. Now, you tell me what you think about that, and if it would be good for you to grow your own medicine again. Just as much as food independence is important, I think medicinal independence is going to start being maybe not more important, because you need food to live, but the medicines that you can grow are going to be a big deal. So we did. We grew cannabis, had no idea what we're doing, and actually had to talk to the guy, the geneticist, and ask him a bunch of questions and watch a bunch of YouTube videos. And essentially all we did is we took our seed cup, we put the seed in, we put the cap on, we put it in the tower, we hit default settings, and we let it go. 117 days later, we have a lot of it. And that apparently, I'm no expert, but what we're being told by the experts is that's phenomenal. So what that means is that people could be growing their own medicine, not just cannabis, but they could be growing other herbal solutions as well right in their home with our towers. And it grows faster because of aeroponics and the techniques that we employ. So we've done a lot of that type of experimentation, and we continue to do a lot more. We actually have about 12 towers that we have dedicated to just growing different things right now. We've even done, successfully have done potatoes now. Texas A&M, they're one of our partners, and we're now harvesting potatoes continuously out of the tower. It's way cool. I'll get you some video on that. And then we also have raspberries, blackberries. We've done all aeroponically, and they grow like the size of quarters. They're huge. So we've done that. You can just imagine going out and just taking raspberries off a bush. I mean, they're one of my favorite berries. So we've done a lot of different grow experiments. And let's move on to manufacturing. So if you guys remember, this one's pretty cool for me to see. I'm a big fan of it. We started in a barn. It's the true startup story, starting in a barn. We had, our first employee come up and work for us, Eli, who's still with us. And then we had Scott come on, and we were working out there in the snow and the heat. We had hay, welding, bad mixture. Well, we do have our first manufacturing facility, and we actually just expanded into our second facility because we had all the grow ops. In fact, in this little black curtain right here, in the front of that, we had our grow ops where we had all of our towers up there in the front, and we're like, well, they're getting dirt on them, get plants, this is not a good thing. So a local guy gave us a heck of a deal on a facility, just $500 a month, which is like unheard of these days. So God is truly watching out for us. And we got, so we got manufacturing stood up. We moved out of the barn, got manufacturing stood up. Now we've moved into our new building, which we call Pathfinder. And that's awesome having all the grow ups there. We've also stood up an entire ERP system. And for those that don't know, basically in today's world, everything you do in a business is all done with computers, right? And you want all those things being connected to each other so you don't lose your data and that everything's really streamlined and automated. And we have implemented a full ERP, which for startups is usually something you don't do until later because those ERPs cost a lot of money. Well, I found a solution that was free, it's open source, and we've since fully implemented it, and it's really made a huge difference for us. And I think it's one of our secrets of success. That's not really a secret. It's just we did all the things that are required to have the processes so that when we grow, we're able to scale. You just have to add some extra stuff up. It's pretty cool. So let me see here. We got some chats. Thank you, QA, on the compliments there. And when you make that cure at home, it comes out like black paste. Yeah, it's critical window. Exactly. It looks like a black goo, and I don't know how to make it. I just know that it's the entire plant kind of thing, and they like get it down to this oil, and that is what they're trying to figure out the dosing. Now, please, nobody go out and just do this on your own because the Real Martian said it. This is real medicine. It's real chemistry, and it's like if you do it wrong, you can maybe cause some problems. I don't know. That's the problem, is that it was taken off the research ability because it was put on Schedule 1. So the whole thing's a scam, if you ask me. But that doesn't mean I think people should go out and get high, nor do I think everyone should go out and get drunk. Both are bad. The Bible tells us not to do that. So let's talk about partnerships real fast. And thank you, Brax. You've been here from the beginning. Thanks for following me, brother. Really appreciate it. Strategic partnerships. So yeah, we've got, Adapt 2030, Wrangler Star, Oppenheimer. The Leak Project is another good one. Allison Morrow, former King 5 journalist, is struck out on her own, does really good stuff. She's been shadow banned, y'all. Go support all these people, but Allison in particular is just an amazing story. She was in the big news corporation, NBC News, locally in Seattle is called King 5. She saw the light of what was happening, and she has since struck out on her own before COVID happened. And then as part of COVID, it was she started bringing people on that had different opinions. As a good journalist, she's a good journalist, and she got shadow banned. So she's on Rumble, she's on YouTube still, but please go over and subscribe to Allison Morrow. She's got really good guests, including yours truly is over there. So, go do that, but she does really good work. And Texas Boys as well, a shout out to them. TD and his family are amazing, and we've got partnerships with them, talking and doing interviews and everything, and they love what we're doing as well. So just big shout out to everybody. David at Adapt 2030, the guy is amazing. I love talking to him. He's got different alternative views, and it's just like I don't agree with everything everyone says. They don't agree with everything I say, but these people that I've rattled off here are good people, so please do go support them. But in addition to that, we've got university. Actually, I have to hide myself here. How do I do that? I got to remember these things. Whoop, not that button. Here we go. That one down in the bottom left-hand corner. That would be the largest agricultural school in America, Texas A&M. They got our towers, and they are working with us, baby, and they like us. And they're helping us with the potatoes. It's awesome working with them. North Dakota State University, working with them on food and nutrition. New Mexico State University has our towers. We partner with an organization called Grand Farm, which has tie-ins to Microsoft, and that's opened some doors for us. North Dakota, really, they've Department of Commerce there really likes us. Space Center Houston had us down there talking to them. We're working on some deals with them. We got the Air Force, Space Force, we got Army. Lumen is a major company, if you guys don't know who they are, big company. We're working with them. And then Houston Independent School District, they actually are starting to get our towers right now. So we got a lot of good stuff going on there with partnerships, and we continue to build more. And success builds success. So as we get towers out to these folks and they do their experiments, then more things will happen. So very cool stuff happening there. From an organizational side, I told you there's a lot to go through. This is the fast version, believe it or not. This is the fast version. Organizationally, we've had at our max, I think we were up to about 15 employees. We're currently sitting at about 11 employees, 10 of those full-time, 1 part-time, plus some volunteers that help us. We have a good volunteer program, Volunteer for Options. And so that's doing well. But we basically have a really, really awesome team. We had them down in Florida. We still have North Dakota, Texas, and Washington are our active employee locations. So, standing up entities in all those locations, that's a lot of paperwork for me to go through. On the challenging side, we've actually, gone through one furlough and we're coming out of another. And for anyone who has done startup life, you know that this is just the reality of the situation. You're moving money around as best as you possibly can, as responsibly as you possibly can, taking care of your partners, taking care of your people, and taking care of your customers, making sure everything's done. But in today's world, it's not like you just go out there and get all this money and everything just works. Like if that's how you think investment in startups work, you're completely wrong. Sorry to say that so bluntly, but it's absolutely a fact. We are taking the hard way. It takes a long time to get a startup incubated and then out. And a lot of the stuff that you see out there is like out of Silicon Valley. They've been incubated for a long time in what's called in dark mode. Nobody knows about them except for the guys got the big check. And what they're setting up for is a VC, a venture capitalist, to come in and essentially buy the entire company. Essentially, that's not what they do. They invest a major, part, and by that they become majority shareholder. So they essentially own the company. And then they sell that company off. And, we started at the very beginning is that is not what we wanted to do. We want to get technology out there. We want to tell our story. And when we do, we get amazingly good feedback. But that puts us on the hard road because we're not just searching for the buyout. We are open to those concepts, but it's got to be the right one. It's not the buyout to shut us down, which is a technique that is used. And because of that, we're also looked at as more of the David versus Goliath, which is kind of cool. But a lot of the indoor growing, what they want to do, what I mean by that is they want to control everything. They want to control from seed to stomach, right? They want to know, they want to have the genetics controlled. They want to control where it's grown. They want to manage all the margins and profits, and they want to control you eating it and having full traceability. And if you guys didn't know how much control they really want, they are now putting microchips into cheese to make sure that it's authentic and you eat it. You eat the microchip. So what I'm talking about is this is not a conspiracy woo-woo thing. This is literally what they're trying to do. And are in fact doing. I can say that past tense. So for us, this furlough situation that we're going through, it's hard because if we hit the easy button and essentially sell our souls, then the money comes in. But that's not me. That's not what we're going to do. And it's not Eden. It's not what my business partner. It's not what our board wants to do. We want to find the right partners, the right people, the right investors. And that puts us on a really hard path. So back to the beginning, if you go to edengrowsystems.com/regcf, and I'll talk about that at the end, but we're looking for people to pray, to share, or to pledge. Pray, prayer, or pledge. The PSP program. Here we go. And in that, it's just praying for us, helping us out by talking to the good man upstairs, asking Jesus for help to bless our company, bless our people, bless the investors, give us energy, help open the doors. And he continues to open doors, folks. He continues to open a lot. I still got more to go. This is just a kind of like midway, take a break, take a drink, and catch your breath moment. But then we also have share. Just go on to Twitter. Go to Twitter. Go to Facebook. Write your own post, and say, hey, I'm watching this company. They're doing this thing. They're looking for people to pray or to pray, to share, to pledge. That's it. And here's the link if you want to pledge. And if not, then just help us by telling your friends. Can you please share this company? Can you please go out and just share? Like, it's not a thumbs up. Thumbs up is not sharing. If you think that hitting the thumbs up or hitting the star is share, that's not what we're talking about. Those are nice things to do, and they do help the algorithm. But we're talking about reposting to your stream, or posting to your main board. I mean, there's all of them that are out there. But just go and do that. Take our post and reshare them, or write your own and share it to your board. And if you could help us do that, this RegCF thing, this crowd fund, which allows individuals who are non-accredited investors to actually own a piece of Eden. It's not a donation. It's not a, hey, let me give you money. It's not Kickstarter, right? That Kickstarter is you put your money in because you believe in what's happening, and you might get a little token like a t-shirt. for a Reg CF crowd fund, which is an SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, government sponsored, it's one of the steps towards going public that you can choose to do, and we are choosing to do it. And when you are in a crowd fund under Reg CF put on by the SEC, when you put money in, you get a piece of the company. It's like going to Wall Street and investing. So you can, through this thing, if you go pledge on our site, what we'll do is we'll keep you up to date as the day comes and everything's going to go live. We'll tell you exactly where you need to go, what you need to do, and those transactions are handled by a third party, not by us. There'll be a conflict of interest there. So third party takes your money, and then they'll issue you your equity, and then we go on. And the minimum amount is $500, but you can go up to however much you'd like to put in. So if you know somebody, your church groups, nonprofits, your friends, anybody who cares about food or medicine independence, tell them about Eden, because we're doing a lot of cool stuff. And with that, I'll continue. So we're coming out of furlough right now, but we're still right on the edge. We had some really good sales, which I'll talk about, that have helped get us closer to making things go, but we still depend on other people's money. Okay, finance. So yeah, here we go. We're actually up to, I kind of jumped to some of the stuff that I have at the end, but I'll talk about this chart right here. And let me turn my video off again so you can see it. There we go, right there. Okay, so this chart, it's really hard to put everything in perspective for folks so that you can see what's happening and what's going on with the money. So being a program manager of old, what I wanted to do is measure how much money are we making, how much revenue, how many orders, how much money are we spending, and how much work are we getting done, right? Because a lot of the startups that you see out there, you're going to have people who say they're going to do something but never do it, and they take the money. And we're not one of those startups, right? It's not who we want to be. So on this chart here, I'll turn my video back on here in a moment, but you can see the year going along this axis, and then the orange is the cost, how much money we've spent, and then the green are the orders that are starting to come in. So let me turn my display back on here. And then that blue line going up, that's the amount of things that we've accomplished. So we went really live in 2019. That's when I actually, joined up full time with Bart, and we started working on things together. And you can see their costs that year are pretty high. We didn't get a whole lot of things done. It's there, not a whole lot. They're big things, I didn't cheat and put a bunch of little things. These are like big things. And then we actually started taking orders. I think it was 2021 we had our first sale. In 2022 we took a few more early adopter sales, right? And these are people who knew that the product is still getting used to getting ready, and they're going to get a product. They're going to give us feedback. So we have those early adopters. Actually, we only have 2 of those left to ship, and then we'll be out of that program. And so we started bringing money in, and then we're actually almost up to, in the end of 2022, we're actually almost up. I have an updated version of this chart because I stopped making this chart in, I think it was like before the last quarter, and I didn't have time to update it before this briefing. Sorry, but I think I have an updated version coming. It was like almost $200,000 now, and then right now we're sitting almost like $300,000 in total orders, including the 50K from the Air Force. So we're doing all right, and we don't have a marketing budget. The only way that people buy stuff is we talk about it on YouTube. So, definitely, tell people, if you want to help us, you can pray, you can share, or you can pledge. That's how you can actually come help Eden right now, do all this stuff. And so what I like to point out here is the cost. So, and the accomplishments. We had 33 major things, like all this stuff that I'm telling you, big stuff. There's not like, hey, I woke up and I went and sent an email kind of things, cheating the system. Like, no, I have integrity. I'm actually showing you the big things here. We had 33 major accomplishments in 2021, and we had 50 in 2022. These are really big things. And our cost did go up. We had more people. We were doing more stuff. Hey, it takes money to make money. Nobody can do things, there's no such thing as on the cheap anymore, but if there was, we found a way because we bootstrapped this whole thing, by golly. $1.5 million roughly by the end of 2022, or right up to that third quarter there. So we have definitely raised the money, and what I'm trying to say is we spent it very, very efficiently, because most of that money all got spent. You can see it all. Most of it got spent here in these last 2 years, 2021 and 2022, and that's when we had big team growth, software, all those things that I've spoken about already. Putting that all in place, the sales team, getting that going. So we've done a lot, and I put it in also in context. For $1.5 million, that would be like half a year of the programs that I would previously have run at Boeing in situ, right? That you don't get a lot for $1.5 million when you're working in an actual full up, established company that's not a startup. So I'm extremely proud of what we've been able to get done. And I can sit and go talk to my former colleagues and be like, hey, this is what we did for 1.5 million. And they're like, really? You got that all done for 1.5? That's amazing. I spent that in like the first half of the year, and I got like 2 things. I'm like, yeah, exactly. We are nimble and we are agile. So we're doing pretty good. Let me do a quick check here on the comments. Let's see here. EM Ice, nice. I'm familiar with Odoo. Typical ERP software plus consultants would bankrupt. Yes, they would. We're talking like over $5,000 a month per user if you pay for a big one, and Odoo is open source. So we can also modify the code, which we have learned to do. So that's a great tool, and I think more people are starting to figure it out too. QA, wow, very well done on your connections and networks. Thank you for that, and thank you for being here and helping us with that. The thumbs up, the subscriptions, they all help. My friend's company just turned down a $125 million bid for his company. He started 10 years ago with 1 truck. Come this December, he'd be up to 1,000 trucks. That is awesome. And there's nothing better than seeing small businesses get bigger and be successful and fight the good fight. And then let's see here. Objective 1, if you really have serious paranoia about it, you wouldn't dare say it on YouTube. Therefore, your virtual fear is irrational. Give me more context there, Objective 1, because having fear about something and not saying it fully means the algorithm can't fully pick up on me, but I can speak around it and still get to the point. And I can't remember exactly what you're commenting on there, but if you're talking about those things that I was talking around, that's for obvious reasons. But please do ask me a more specific question there. I'll be happy to go over anything I'm fearful of. I got plenty of them in today's world. So let's go ahead and keep moving on. So yeah, here, 2023 now, looking at what's happening. I actually zoomed in. So here's 2021, where we had 33 things. 2022, 50 things. And then, yeah, here, 2023, you can see we're up to almost $200,000 in just tower sales, tower orders. That doesn't include our other sales and stuff that we have for the Air Force that are in there, because that was contract work. But we're up to 88 major accomplishments this year, and we still got another quarter to go. So we are definitely rocking. You can see another chart here. This is another way to look at it. Right, this is just quantifying, trying to take everything we've done and quantify it so that people can understand. You can sit there and say, hey, yeah, we've done a lot. But what does that really mean? These are major accomplishments along the lines of what I've been sharing with you that we've done across a multitude of the entire corporation that is Eden now as we grow. 11 employees, that we have. Sad we've, every company has turnover. And we've had turnover and some really amazing people. And all of them, we've all left on good terms. It's just, startup life isn't for everybody, and the challenge is there. But here's a good testimony to if a company is ready to go. Can you handle turnover? If you lose somebody, will the company keep moving forward? Now, one of the things I've learned in my journey is not to be so full of myself to make everybody dependent on me. That is like the worst thing you can possibly do as a leader or a manager of a company or any effort really at all. So I've tried to design our systems, our processes, procedures, the company. I've tried to design the company so that it doesn't depend on any one person, and that the company keeps going forward even if, let's say, I wasn't there, that's what you want. You want a mature company that's ready to go, so that if you're going to be putting money in, it's not like, well, if this guy's gone, it's all over, finish it. Same thing goes with the people that are on our team. Is we set up everything so that if this manufacturer leaves, we have other plans. I actually have over about 500 applicants right now that are in our system, in our HR system, that want to come work here. 500 people want to come work at Eden across the spectrum. That's executives, that is manufacturers, welders, engineers of all different types, systems engineers, mechanical engineers, aerospace engineers, electrical. Did I say electrical engineers? We got all these folks. We have over 500 applicants in the system that want to come work here. This is a company that we've been building from the ground up, that is maturing and getting to the point where we can actually really start to go to the next level, which is what the Reg CF crowdfund, the SEC crowdfunding that we're going to be doing. Again, when you invest in Eden as part of this crowdfund, it's not like a Kickstarter where you don't get a piece of the company. You actually get a piece of the company here. You actually get equity in the company. And we need that money so that we can go up to the next level. So let's continue on with the slides here. I think I'm getting pretty close to the end. Yeah, so in 2023, this is a summary list, right? There's already 80 some odd things, but the summary list of some of the big ones that I thought would be kind of neat to go through. Our first cannabis, we started in 2022. We got it all done in 2023. New VP of Manufacturing and Supply Chain is super awesome, doing great things. Prior one really helped us grow the company. First major influencer deal, you guys might have seen us on Atlas Shelters. We're over there. He wants to put us in their systems. That was a cool thing to go. Sorry, I've got to read off of one screen here. I keep bouncing. Sorry about that. Hey, our towers and ECS both got approved for export out of the United States. That's a big deal. Getting that done takes some paperwork, but got approved there. Had a huge open house where we launched everything, got some good press off of that. We do have an affiliate program. We had to get that all set up, get the contracts all figured out. On the towers, we've had requests for both microgreens and starters, or what we call high capacity trays. And our towers are unique in the fact that you can grow the entire spectrum of crops. You can grow root vegetables, right? You can't do that in standard hydroponics unless you do a different methodology. But like the stuff that are being sold that are towers, their grow trays are like 2 inches deep, and they're just using running water over that. We actually use aeroponics and have 8-inch deep grow chambers. So that allows us to grow. We've grown beets, carrots, onions. Now we're growing potatoes. We've done the berries. We've played with a whole bunch of other things as well. Cannabis, of course. Cucumbers have gone wild. Tomatoes go wild. We have a pineapple growing in one right now. Like people are like, hey, can you grow a pineapple? And we're like, well, let's see. But the trays, there's 4 trays per deck. And depending on what type of tower you get, there can be up to 3 decks. And each tray was meant to be removed, so you could take it, you could harvest it, clean it, throw it in your dishwasher, bring it back, and not touch anything else. USDA food safety protocols, right? So we put that all stuff into play. But one of the tray designs that we have is a microgreen tray, to where you actually use, if you go back to the Real Martian and see us in the hab, we actually put cocoa coir into a tray, and you put your seeds over the top of it and put a little more cocoa coir, press it down, and then that all turns into a whole lot of microgreens. Well, now the towers can do the same thing. So we built that, and we also have people that are like, hey, can we do plant starts? And we're like, yeah, you can totally start plants in the tower, but we use these little 2-inch net pots, and what we want to do is make it a lot easier and more organic so that you can do your starters in the tower, and then you just take the whole thing out, put it in the ground. Right, so you, instead of having to have a greenhouse, you can have a tower, put it in your garage, put it in your house, get all your starts going there. It'll be a lot cheaper than a greenhouse, and you can get everything going just in your tower. So that is something that we've actually been working on, and got it in the final test phase. Getting that, hopefully, it'll be released probably next month or a month after. We have multiple iterations of ECS this year. We were actually invited to Microsoft, which was really weird. We were able to go there and really hear a lot of inside stuff that they're working on. That's a video of another time. But we were asked to go there for Future Ag. What's going to be going on in Future Ag, and it was kind of a privilege to be invited to that level, if you know what I mean. I don't agree with all their politics there, but to be invited to that means that we're on the radar, right? We're on the radar, and that's a good thing from a marketing standpoint, and potential investors as well. So pretty cool. We're making some pretty good orders this year, just this year alone, surpassing 240K in orders and moving up. So that's really cool. We've actually partnered with an organization called Feed the Future, set up a partnership with them. So if you have a nonprofit type of thing that you would like to be a part of, we have partnered with Feed the Future, and they can, do all the stuff that other 501c3s can do. And then they work with us on getting towers to people in need, and that is really starting to pick up even as we speak. We've won that AFWorks direct to phase 2. That's a fancy way to say the Space Force has given us a contract, but they don't have any money yet because the money's going to Ukraine. But that's what it means. And then we've updated our website. I don't know if any of you have been to the new Eat and Grow Systems website, but it's gone through a major overhaul about 2 months ago now, I think is when we got, back in June. So we're actually getting ready to do another one because it's all learning. It's learning how to do all these things. It's learning how to, it's not, if you were to go pay someone to get all this, first of all, they get it all done wrong because the first time out is always wrong. And then they're going to charge you a whole bunch of money. Well, we learned the skills ourselves. My wife and I actually did the last website update by ourselves. So she has come a long, long way in all of her technical skills. And that's what I'll do a shout out to everybody at Eden. Like, there's nobody here that wears one hat. I think I wear the most hats, but everybody wears at least 5 hats that we all have. And there's no such thing as, that's not my job. That attitude, we don't hire people that have that attitude. This is a startup life, and we want people to be hungry, and they come in and everybody they find where they fit, and then they have to take on even more. And a lot of that means doing things that they have no idea how to do, but it's just what we have to do. And I get this feedback, well, why don't you just pay other people? I'm like, because those other people are even more expensive by a lot, by a whole lot. So we have amazing people. They don't get paid what they should get paid. They know that. I know that. It's part of what we talk about on the hiring process. But the goal is, they see what we're doing. These people have gone through 2 furloughs. They're here. They see what we're doing. They believe in the mission. They're sacrificing in their personal life and their families. They see the day-to-day, how we conduct ourselves. Our all hands meeting, we start off by giving thanks to the Lord and asking him to guide our steps. We are a Christian organization. We are for profit. We're not a nonprofit. You can talk to Feed the Future for that, but we believe in what we say. And what we started this whole thing with is, God telling Bart and I, bad times are coming. You guys have skills. I want you to use them to go help feed people, right? And we're doing that. So we continue to get more stuff accomplished. We've also implemented a full quality control system. For those of you that don't understand, like when actually most people will see it, like you get your little piece of thing from Amazon, you might maybe possibly see, inspected by quality check person, whatever. That's a quality control system. It's just the tip of the iceberg of one, really. I don't mean to offend anyone who's in quality. But it goes every step of the phase from receiving the product, making sure you got what you bought so you can build what you're supposed to build, making sure you built what you're supposed to build, making sure it does what it's supposed to do, and making sure it meets all the quality inspections while you package it all up. And we've actually also gotten a whole new set of packaging materials. When we started off, we were just in cardboard boxes, and then we've actually moved into our first custom design packaging solution just for us. And it doesn't have all the cool, Gucci graphics and everything yet. That costs a lot more money, and quite honestly, I don't know if it'll be worth it. It'll look cool. But right now, our biggest thing is we got to figure out a way to get material costs out of the system. Which I'll talk to you guys about that in a little bit. But lots of stuff going on. Again, this is just the highlight of what we've done this year. Some really big stuff. For those that have invested with us from the very beginning, we did a family and friends round in 2019 when I left. And the shares for people who came in at that point were 50 cents per share. And in just a few years here, we're currently sitting at $1.57 per share, and we're very conservative. When you set your share price, that is a calculation that's done that looks at your IP, your patents, what you've accomplished, your sales, your orders, what you're perceived to be worth on the market. And we continue to add value to Eden in all these things that we've done. So basically, we've tripled everybody's investments since they've been here. And as this part of the crowd fund, we're redoing that calculation, having the lawyers look at everything, and they're currently working on all that. There might actually be a stock split coming up where people that have already get more. I don't know yet. We're still working on all the math and everything. And then the dollar amount, if you do a stock split, then it'll drop so that more people can come in, all those kind of things at a good rate. We're really trying to do right by the investors and make sure that, their investment goes even further. But a 3x improvement over the course of 4 years seems pretty good to me. I'm pretty sure that's better than your credit deposits that you can get at the bank there. What are those called? The notes or whatever. And we're a pretty consistent bet right now with everything that's going on. So we got quite a few things that we've been working on there. And again, that is the very fast version. I know we've been going for almost a full hour here. I obviously did not read the slides. I was talking to them, and you guys could go back and you could read all the stuff that we're doing here. Let me get this kind of guy out of the way. But there's the link on the screen. If you want to pledge, or if you want to, again, pray, share, or pledge, right? Pray for Us is super powerful. We completely believe in it as a faith-based organization. So your help there will be truly appreciated and welcomed. We know that not everyone right now in these days can afford to do an investment. The share is super easy. You could literally go share this video. It's not thumbs up. The thumbs ups are great, guys, but it's the share button. It's the one that puts it on your feed, right? Whether you're on Twitter or TikTok or LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever, it's the share button that you want to hit. And you need to say a message in there, right? You can't just say, hey, check this out. You need to say, these folks are doing something that I believe in. That's the only reason you should share. Don't share if you don't believe in it. I ain't asking for any fake people here. I just want sincerity. And if you really like what we're doing, then The Real Martian is asking for your help to actually go out and share this. Help extend what Eden is trying to do. We are trying to take what God told us to do. We have dedicated our lives to it. We've gone through the shit. We've gone through, I say that, I'm a Christian, I was hesitant, but it's true, man. We're going through the mud, the muck, the mire, the garbage. We're going through this shit, man. It's very hard. It's not easy. And if you want to help us, you don't have to go pledge money. That's always great. I mean, that's what we need. Money makes the world go round. We got to have it. Got to pay those bills. But what would be even better right now is just to share the message. What do you like about Eden? Here we are sacrificing. You got a funny guy comes on the YouTube and shares their story honestly and sincerely. Tell you what's going on. What do you like about us? We're trying to get the cost of those towers down. I think this is the biggest criticism that I've seen from the conservative side is those towers cost too damn much. I could go grow it in the ground cheaper. First of all, you're wrong about that. I actually did the math on that one. I went and added up every single thing that it takes to build a garden. And our towers are more expensive upfront, but in the long haul, we are like 3 times less the cost. So you get what you pay for. And oh, by the way, the amount of time savings you get with one of our solutions compared to an garden stuff. We have no pests, no disease. There's no squirrels that I have to continually trap in our garden here to make your life more difficult. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see while we talk here. It's actually a fallacy that growing stuff in the ground is really, really cheap, especially if you have to buy the land. That's not cheap at all. But I will say this, if you have land of any kind and you're anywhere, you should be growing food right now. And if you can't because the seasons are changing, then that's why we're here. If you can't because you're in the city and you have no access to ground, then that's why we're here. And you know what? 80% of the world's population lives in the city where they don't have access to the ground. So I'll also say this is a pet peeve of mine. I have some conservative friends that are like, if those people haven't left the city, then F them. First of all, shame on you for even thinking that. That is anti-Christian. It is not showing love, and you need to be held accountable. You are wrong. There are a lot of great, amazing people who have had hard lives and good lives that want to leave the city and can't. They simply cannot because it costs too damn much for them to get out. That does not mean that we write them off. That does not mean that we curse them. It means that we need to help them. How can we help them? Because they are essentially going to start ending up being something like a refugee. They are going to need help. You know what I'm talking about. and we need to get them that help. So if you're one of those people who's been saying cursing words against people in the city, I've been guilty of it myself. I got held accountable, and now I'm just passing that on, because when I got corrected, it was very clear that I was absolutely wrong for thinking those kind of things. So if you're doing that, stop doing it. But we want to help them. We want to get those people, the help that they need, and our towers can help them. So let's kind of talk about where we're going next. I'm going to do a series of videos, maybe some more lives to where you guys can come and ask, but stay tuned for them. They're going to be a little more topical, where we can go into some more details. But here's what Eden's going to be doing with the money that we're raising. First of all, our goal to raise is $1.24 million. It's not a lot of money when you're talking about raising money for a startup. That's a pretty low number. Again, we're not trying to dilute ownership. We're not trying to just go raise this huge chunk. We're not trying to go raise $30 million. That takes all of our owners and it dilutes their shares. That's not what we want to do. We want to raise the money we need to do the job we need to go do. We're a conservative Christian company trying to do the right thing. So with the $1.24 million, we got to pay for the raise. It takes money to get money. So we got to pay the people, the advertisers, and everything that we got to go do to support the fundraising effort. We're going to expand our production capabilities. We're going to move to what's called full rate production. So right now we're at a low rate production, which means we're no longer a prototype. Those days are gone. We have a stable product. We have a stable supply chain, but we need to make improvements so that we can scale it up and get more output. So that's what we're going to be doing, a big chunk of the money. Another big chunk of the money goes into paying off our existing debts and our accounts payable. A really cool thing that God has provided is we've been able to work with amazingly great partners, meaning other suppliers to us, but partners. These are people who have extended us credit, and they allow us to pay on terms so that we don't have to have all this cash up front. That has been an amazing blessing, but we continue to move forward with them. We continue to pay those bills, and we need to pay that all off so that we can start ramping up some more and use that capital elsewhere. Also our debt, our credit cards and stuff like that, got to pay those things off, the challenge of all small businesses. So we've got those things that we need to do. We also are going to invest a lot into marketing. So far, the sales that we've gotten, we have done nothing but organic, me talking to people I know on YouTube, the relationships that I've already established with people, and we're at $300,000 plus in sales and counting. So we've got some good things that we'd like to do. We've got an amazingly great volunteer right now. Jack, major shout out to you if you're watching, but has amazing connections with a lot of different people. And we're talking big stuff like Tucker Carlson kind of stuff, right? So we are right at the threshold of being able to push through. Brightian TV, you guys might have heard of them. We have some great connections with them that we're looking at as well. So we've gone through this furlough, and I'll share this, and then I'll continue on with where we're going with the money. That's actually marketing. There's other little things. Those are the big ones. So I'll finish that. But I'll talk about that in more detail in future videos if you guys like to see that. But when we go through furlough, I have it written on my board over here. It's been written there so long that it's probably not going to come off. But I believe God has given us everything we need to solve our problems by looking to his creation for answers, which is how the tower and the hab and all that came to be. But the second one is, if this is from God, don't worry. He'll show us the money. All right. And I like to say that I don't worry, but I do. And it's hurt my heart. So now I got the heart rate monitor on and I'm trying to de-stress. I think God is teaching me a lot about my type A personality and how I need to let things go and let him do his job, right? Because as a type A, it's always like, it only happens if I do it. Well, that's full BS as well. God is the one that I need to turn to and lean on, and I'm here to do his job. And if I do that, then I'll be less stressed. But the reason I bring that all up isn't just to talk about my stress, which I'm getting better at, but it's to say more doors have opened than have closed during our furlough. So you might be wondering, man, is this guy doing the right thing? Should they just shut up shop now and go on? And the answer there is absolutely not. We have paid customers and we're going to get them all their damn towers. I ain't giving up on those people. That's number one. Number two is no. Every single time God has slowed us down, and he has. There's been something going on where we're doing really, really good, and then something happens and he kind of just pulls the brakes. And Bart and I, as business partners, have sat and looked at it, and we can 100% with certainty say every single time that's happened, it's been for a reason. There's never been a reason that has been like, this is all wrong, you're doing the wrong thing. It's been, you weren't ready for this. You didn't see this shortcoming that you had. You didn't see this problem. So let me, slow you down, crank that stress up, get that cortisol going through the body so you're super focused. And I want you to look at this thing right here. So as a good example, we went on to furlough, myself included, which is rough. And my wife, she's still on partial furlough. So it's not like we're bringing in money right now. Paid hardly anything. But we're going through these tough times, and having to tell your employees that they're not going to get paid, it does not feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. That's my responsibility is to be there to take care of those things, and it's rough. But as you go through those rough things, all of a sudden you start seeing other things happen. So for example, we went on furlough, and then all of a sudden we make connection with Brightian TV, and they're like, we love what you guys are doing. We totally want you here, but here's the problem. And they said this very explicitly. Can you handle the traffic that's sent to your site, or will you crash and burn? And we're like, that is a good question. Let me translate and just fast forward. Were you ready to scale? Are you ready to scale? Do you have everything in place so that you can just take the floodgates opening up and go? That is what happened after we went on furlough. We didn't get the door shut saying you all messed up, it's all wrong, you're making all these mistakes. No, quite honestly, we look back and we're like, every decision that we've made is we've been forced to make in a certain way. After prayer, after seeing what happens, after what goes on, it's like those are things that we could have changed. Hindsight being what it is, could you do things differently? The answer is we couldn't have done anything differently if the funding situation remained the same. If our learning curve was where it was at, we couldn't have done anything different. Instead, now we can look back with all the lessons that we've learned, everything that we've gone through and experienced, and be like, wow, actually, yeah, if I go back now, I'd be like this, and this, but we had to learn all these things so that we are ready to scale. And there's not really big things. It's just other things we were focused on that we needed to be redirected over here. So we've actually, really gotten those things figured out and dialed in. Oh, and I just saw my computer says it's going to die. Hold on 1 second, folks. That's not good. Why is that happening? Okay, I think we're okay now. We've learned those things. We continue to learn them. And on the Brightian side, we've actually had to implement more outsourcing, which is a really big thing to do. People think that outsourcing is easy. It's not. It takes a lot of work to do that. You have to create all your design packages, put them all together. Thank you to Garrison, our mechanical engineer, for doing all that. And now we're actually starting to shop out our design for fabrication and build at another location, which will allow us to scale. It allows us to take more orders because instead of having to build that capacity organically, pun intended, we get to just go pay for it. And then they stand up and they follow our instructions and we're off to the races. And we've been doing a lot more stuff. That's almost a video onto it, all of its own as far as getting ready for scaling. And one of the things I get asked too on scaling is, could you be $1 billion company? Could Eden be $1 billion company? And the answer is within 10 years, if we do certain things, the answer is yes, we can be. Because who doesn't eat? I get asked that, who's your market? Anybody who eats, and cares about food sovereignty, cares about food quality, cares about medicinal quality, pureness, cares about, maybe wants to do a small business. If you go to our new website, you'll see there's basically 6 categories of people that we think really would be the ones who would be buying our system. But really, honestly, it's anyone who eats. And for those who've been watching the news, those who've been following, for those who are Christians, you guys all know what's coming. There's famine coming. The Bible tells us that. If you're not a Christian, I get it. Hey, get on the Jesus train. I highly recommend that. I'll talk to you about it personally if you want to understand my history and why I believe in Jesus Christ as my Savior. But you really should. But if you don't, you can just look at what's going on anyway and see that there's a lot of people and not enough land and not enough water, and there's going to be a problem, right? And those are just, you could just see them. But a lot of us are so covered in what I call the cloak of comfort, right? We're so used to the lifestyle. And hey, man, I'm here. The comforts, the things that I have, the home that I have, the wife, everything that is makes my life enjoyable, so to speak, is, you don't want to lose it. So then we don't stand up, we don't do things, we like to keep our head in the sand, because who wants to think about these things, right? But if you don't think about them, then they catch you off guard, and then all of a sudden you will become submissive to a system that is depending on you not knowing what's going on. It's like a catcher's mitt, right? The system is the pitcher, and what they want is you in that mitt. And they throw the pitch, and they're just waiting for you to land right here. And by that I mean, if you're not paying attention, if you're not hearing what's going on, if you think everything is just going to go back to the way it was, or I'm going to be dead and it doesn't matter, like, you're wrong. You are wrong, and it's time to start thinking differently, I guess, is what I should say nicely. So at Eden, we're going to be taking the funds that we get from this crowd raise that we're doing. Again, people will become owners. You don't have to be a certified investor. Normally, you don't get to invest in startups unless you're a certified investor. Those are laws that you have to follow. Unless you hit the family and friends round, then that's okay. By law, that's okay. But then once you start going into the public domain, you have to be certified. So this Reg CF is going to allow everybody to have a piece of Eden. And I like to ask, if you got questions, I'm finishing up, I'm over my time here, but if you got questions, I see I got a few here I need to hit, please do hit me with those questions now. And definitely happily go through all those. But we're going to be taking the crowdfund money. We're going to be doing the things that I spoke to you about. We even have the new design of the tower. On the tower, what we're doing, we have enough data now from the ERP system. Every time you build something in an ERP, you get what's called a manufacturing order or work order. And what that means is you have to click a button that says start and stop. So it measures how long it takes you to do each and every operation that goes into it. Well, we have enough data now where we know exactly what our major cost drivers are, and they are welding, powder coating, and our cable harness. Then there's parts, just the sheer volume of parts, or not volume, but value of parts that we have to buy. There's lots of parts that you have to buy. And because we use aircraft grade aluminum, some of them are expensive. We don't build cheap, crappy plastic stuff. We build good stuff that's going to last a long, long time. And we use good components that aren't going to burn out on you just in the first few moments that you have it. So because of that, we're focusing on a new design that's going to get rid of welding, that's going to get rid of powder coating, and that is going to address our cable harness, because getting a cable harness built it's expensive. You wouldn't think it is, but it is. All these things add up. So we've got that. We call it version 3 of the tower. That's going to take us some time. So you're not going to see that on the website or for sale anytime soon. But that's part of what the funds that are coming in allow us to do, is to pay the people to do the work so that we can figure that all out. In fact, I got some parts showing up later this week. We're going to be back out in the barn, which is going to be fun, doing some fabrication out there and just seeing what happens. Might give you guys some sneak peeks on The Real Martian, so stay tuned for that. And what else is there? Yeah, I think coming up, actually, let's do some questions and we'll come back. So, Brax, your persistence will pay off, Jeff. Keep up the good work. Hey, thank you so much, and thank you for being here for so long. QA, that is a big one. Export, very well done. Yeah, that is a big deal, being able to export out of the United States. And we can go anywhere. So trying to figure out, we actually have people emailing us, asking us from Australia, from Europe, Germany, Switzerland, Iceland, Japan, hey, are you guys shipping here? And the answer is yes, we can ship there. The problem is it costs so damn much. It's like double the cost of the tower to get it there. We're currently working with different shipping providers to make it more affordable. But what we really are looking for are partners to where we can load up an entire Connex and ship a bunch of towers over and sell them, on continent. So that we've actually had some people ask us about that, and we're starting to work on those things. So you talk about scalability, getting in that $1 billion company, global sales is a big piece of it. I'll put this out there. If I could sell 10 towers out of each Home Depot on the planet, I think that's per month. And then if I can sell, I think it's like 20 or 50 ECSs. That's our control system. That'll be a standalone that you could use to control your own greenhouse, your own garden, whatever you want to do. You even can control other people's stuff. Wink. So if we sell that many, I think it was like 25 per month out of every Costco and every Home Depot, then we'll be $1 billion company. And that's not hard. That's not hard. That is very doable. So like how I like to put it is the path to $1 billion is like standing on a mountain here and knowing you need to get to a mountain over here, right? This is the $1 billion mountain. And what I can see when I look down into the valley is I can see like through the trees, I can see there's a path, right? But it's in some places it's covered up by trees, but then I can see the path continues and it goes up the other side of the mountain there. I can see there's a path. The work and what we have to do, there's no guarantees in life on anything. So there's no guarantee we'll be $1 billion company. That's just crazy to come out and say that. But there is a path. And it doesn't look like it's a hard path. It looks like it's a path that just requires us to do our jobs, right? So any company that's selling something would be doing this. So that's what we need to do. But having those export licenses, first step. Another one, Jeff, if you did not know, PC RAM and SSD are at record low prices. I do need to, thank you for that. I do need to get some. In fact, Alicia's computer, I need to actually get a graphics card upgrade on that one. Are people outside the United States allowed to invest? That is a good question. I think the answer is yes. I don't think there's a U.S. citizenship requirement on the Reg CF. It's anybody. Are you using the blockchain to track everything connected to the manufacturing of the grow towers? No, we're not. We don't need that level. The ERP system that we have allows us to track everything by serial number that we put on or by lots that we put in the tower. And real quick, traceability and all that kind of stuff when you're coming to manufacturing, as you probably know, you do it in steps, right? You don't go for the whole thing because it's very expensive. So we're actually at like our third step in. We started off with no traceability, then we went with traceability at the top level, then we went traceability to a second tier level, and now we're starting to add traceability at lower levels. And we only want to add the traceability for things that really need to be traced because traceability costs money. And we don't want to increase our cost unless there's a good reason to have that traceability. And a good reason would be like safety. Hey, this thing is a critical to safety item, so you need to have it be fully traced so you know what lot it came from, what vendor it came from, who got it, who checked it in, who played with it. We have that kind of traceability already just built into the ERP system, so we don't need blockchain. But I will say blockchain technology will be part of Eden's future when it comes to our digital farmers market app, which we started working on 2 years ago, had to put on pause. But our digital farmers market app will connect people again the old way, to where you could barter using blockchain. And we're talking second economy type of stuff here that you could really get into. So there's that one. Okay, sending stuff overseas via, I think TEU is shipping container, right? Prices are now below 2019 pandemic. Now, that is definitely good news. I wish that our prices would be dropping. I think that the manufacturers are taking a little advantage of that. They're getting some margin right now because they're not dropping their prices back down. I guess that's the way it goes, right? Prices go up, they don't come back down. Hey everybody, I'm pretty much wrapped it up with my topics. So if you got any more questions, please do hit me with them right now. Otherwise, I'd say, pray, share, or pledge. That's what I'm asking for your help on. Please, do one of those three things or a combination of all three. The link right here, you can grab and just go and share it with people. Hey, this is a cool company. They're doing a crowdfund. You get to own a piece of it. They're trying to help make food and medicine independent again, and not have to depend on the big guys and all their money out there to give you what you need. So they kind of go bigger here. And I'm really grateful for everyone following along. I'm super grateful to everybody at Eden, the ones that have been here before, the ones that are here now. Thank you, everybody, for all that you've done. I am sorry to my Real Martian crowd. In the heyday of the Real Martian, when we were getting 20,000 views per video, it was super awesome and fun. And today I would love to be able to get back up to that. But to everyone who's been here from the very beginning, QA, Brax, you guys, seeing there, Earl as well. Thank you for being here, seeing you guys. And just shout out to all of you who have followed The Real Martian. I'm going to try to get you guys more content, not just shorts and stuff, but try to do some of this. For Reg CF, you will see more stuff come out on The Real Martian. Yeah, and you guys know how it works by now is I have been shadow banned. You could actually see where I was going, and doop, and then, you know, all this. So you probably have to check on the Real Martian site or be on social media. But when you see it come up as part of this Reg CF, we got 2 weeks. 2 weeks we've got to get everybody that we know excited about investing in Eden. It's not a giveaway. It's not an it's not a, what is it? Oh, I just lost my vocabulary. You're not just giving us free money. You're actually buying a piece of the company. You're buying a piece of the hope that we are trying to create. There's a bunch of bad stuff happening in the world, and we are seriously trying to be a force for good and make things better. So really, really appreciate you guys just grabbing this, sharing the message, getting people out there, telling what you like. Don't do it the easy way. Don't do it just, hey, check this out. Say, hey, check this out because I think they're worth investing in, you know, and you guys should consider this investment. You know, a call to action is what you need in today's world. So with that, let's see, check, James, thank you, C. Mom, thanks again for being here. Love you. And LL Sexto, thanks for you all. Appreciate it. I think that's going to be it for today's live stream. Stay tuned. I am going to have more. So thank you, everybody. God bless you. This is